Hey everybody, hey, good morning. My name is Darius Anucauskas and I'm the Chief Market Analyst here at Markets.com. Look, today's a Wednesday, I wouldn't say Monday, but today's Wednesday and we're midweek, so we had already a bunch of data coming out. Yesterday we had the NFPs, but don't think that the week is finished. No, we have tomorrow the BoE, the ECB, and on Friday we have the BoJ. So we're going to be wrapping up the year with some major interest rate decisions. Look, about all this and a little bit more in the webinar right now, so stay tuned. Hopefully you'll enjoy the session, and I'll see you in a bit. All right, ladies and gentlemen, hello and good morning. My name is Darius Anucauskas and I'm the Chief Market Analyst here at Markets.com, and today is Wednesday. So, as I said in the intro, that don't worry, although we had already quite a busy first half of the week, I think we're going to get another busy one. The second half will be very busy as well. So look, about all this and a little bit more in a moment. Just before that, we go through our risk disclaimer. So yes, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation and should not be considered as such. This material should not be taken as an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest. I'm not going to disappear anywhere. So yes, today is Wednesday. Today we have a few economic data sets that are coming out. That's fine, but nothing, let's say, major. Tomorrow, that's when we're going to have some more interesting action. Okay, look, what can I say for now? Okay, so I hope you read through the risk disclaimer. Also, just a quick mentioning of our Markets.com website, which you can always check out for more information about us. If you have any questions, reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist. And also, tomorrow I'm running my last Zoom webinar for this year. If you have attended those, basically if you go and learn here into webinars, if you have attended those Zoom webinars, you'll know that basically the whole point of these webinars was that I was going into a little bit of oh, excuse me, my nose is itchy. So I was talking about education basically in here, and I was picking up on the most used indicators that traders use and basically applying them in real live market action on our demo account. And that was so far has been a success in terms of how well it performed. Some performed better, some performed less, but it was actually a good. These were good shows to show you how to apply those, and actually are those beneficial to us. Anyway, what I'm going to do in this session, I'm going to wrap up everything. We'll pick up. It will be more of you can ask questions as well, for sure. That's, it's always welcomed. But we will also try to use everything what we learned, and maybe in combination. Probably that would be an interesting way of looking, yeah, we'll go from there, ladies and gentlemen. So don't forget, you can always find a link in the description of this webinar. So feel free to jump in, and like I said, it is tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, economic calendar. Let's jump into this. Okay. Oh, actually, I forgot one thing to do. Good morning in the chat room, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, everyone. There we go. My typing skills today are not the greatest. Good morning, everyone. I hope everybody's having a wonderful start of Wednesday. So, okay. So Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen, today, what did we get today? What we're still going to get today. We already got the trade balance from Japan. Fantastic number here. I mean, I'm really looking forward to looking into Nikkei and Japanese yen. Then going further, we had some inflation numbers from UK. The core rate year on year came out at 3.2, the headline 3.2 as well. So that's below the forecast. And in a way, I talked about this yesterday on Monday, and what I said that if the numbers are a little bit on the higher side, then the BoE would have to rethink the whole maybe cutting thing. But look, inflation came out lower. This kind of justifies the upcoming rate cut tomorrow. So no harm. So like, all the stars have aligned perfectly, right? So now they can go and cut with confidence for the and finish off the year with that cut. So certainly, like I said, the inflation was like this. Retail a little bit on the lower side, 3.8, but still okay-ish, I would say. The only problem is the month on month, which dropped into negative territory. Okay. Going further, IFO business climate coming in like 50 something minutes. Eurozone inflation numbers are coming out as well, so we'll keep an eye on that. I'm really curious what's going to be the headline year on year, because at the moment it's expected to tick up by 0.1%, so which is still okay, still doable. Their inflation target, the ECB's inflation target is around 2%. So if it comes out somewhere there, it's still fine, unless it jumps somehow. Let's say 2.5, and then that's a bummer. Then the ECB will have to start considering maybe less cuts. To be honest, I mean, at the moment they're not really considering any cuts because their rate is already on the lower side, 2.15. So I don't really think that they want to drop it below 2%. But anyway, what do I know, right? Look, for now, keep your eyes on the inflation number, the Eurozone inflation number. That's going to be an interesting point there. So hopefully, it's somewhere around the same number, so that the ECB could not do anything, stick to their plans and not do anything tomorrow. Now, going further today, nothing major, to be honest. GDP numbers from New Zealand here. So okay, though this is the expectation is for the GDP growth rate to increase, the year-on-year figure to increase from a negative to quite a positive one, I would say. So let's see how that plays out. But yeah. Oh, by the way, yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, if you've missed the data yesterday, US in UK and US job numbers came out. UK unemployment ticked up by 0.1%. US unemployment ticked up by 0.2%. So I did a little video on our Markets.com YouTube channel here. So I'll show you what I'm talking about here. US last jobs release of 2025 is not the best. So this is, I've covered that issue in here, because what my issue is that look, the labor force continues to struggle. The labor force continues to struggle, and we saw some kind of okay-ish numbers. Look at this, non-farm payrolls came out at that's the November number. This was the October figure, the minus 105K, ladies and gentlemen. So we have recorded this here. I talked about this yesterday, like I said. So it has been recorded. That's it. We dropped into negative territory quite severely for 2025. There was a drop, so there we go. It is recorded. Yes, I do understand that there was a government shutdown. There was there was no clarity in data, and the question is like, how can you trust this 105K? Can you actually trust it? Look, in that case, they could have delivered whatever number. They could have delivered a positive figure, right? Because if the logic is, let's say, let's not trust it, then whatever you show there, it's fine. But they decided to deliver a negative number, so maybe this is actually a worrying signal. So yeah, for now, what can I say is that going into 2026, it's going to be very interesting to see how much can we, let's say, stay afloat above zero. Now, to me, this is going to be the question number one. How much we can stay afloat above zero, and like for how long we can stay afloat above zero, because we have been at levels like back in 2022, back in 2023, we were like around 300, 400K. Now we're just like barely struggling to stay afloat above zero. So that is a problem. That is for sure a problem. And certainly, like I said, what I said in this video as well yesterday, that keep your eyes on it. Keep your eyes on this on the Fed as well, because the Fed right now is expected to go and cut by April, basically only in April they're expected to cut. Why? Well, this is logical because Jerome Powell is leaving in May, so it's kind of his last meeting in April. So hey, there you go, guys. Here's a cut for you. I'm clean. I'm out. So drop the mic. That's like I said. That's how I'm seeing it. And maybe somebody agrees, maybe it doesn't. But in general, to go for more cuts, I really don't know, because again, who's going to benefit from that? The companies are going to benefit. If you think that you're going to, provide cheaper lending for companies in order for them to kind of recruit more, expand their business, no, they're not going to do that, because everybody's now like deep in AI, and everybody's trying to, put capital towards AI, and that's it. The whole point is that you're going to make lending cheaper, and you're going to make borrowing cheaper for companies, but those companies are not going to actually use that money to help out the labor market. Why do I need to do that? And yes, I do understand the pressure from the White House, but I think the Fed kind of understands that as well. Anyway, but certainly we'll see who's going to come in after April or after May. Who's going to be the new person? Will it be Hassett or maybe somebody else? At the moment they're trying to keep the intrigue, but yeah, we'll see. Anyway, so yeah, going further. So yes, further, Thursday, yes, BoE interest rate decision. We're expecting a rate cut. So as I said, the favorable inflation numbers are actually helping out the BoE, because again, those guys there, they know that like if inflation would have ticked up, then everybody would start questioning why the hell are you guys kind of cutting further. So yeah, for now, I think that now it's still above target, don't get me wrong, which is 2%, but at least it's lower, right? So that's like I said, that's my problem with all this, and we'll see how the BoE comes out. What's interesting to me is this vote right here. Now, we are expecting to see more more members in favor of the cut, in favor of going for a cut here. Okay, look, I would say this way that it's going to be very interesting to see if suddenly this is not 5. Now, to me, this is where the interesting bit comes in. If it's not going to be 5, it's going to be less than 5. Wow, that to me is like a real interesting moment here. And then we'll see if this can shape how somehow maybe it could strengthen the British pound. So I think that the rate cut will happen, and we will go for that 25 basis point cut. But what's going to be even more interesting, I think, what will be the pound mover if this, let's say, number here, number 5, drops. If we see a lower than 5 number, then it could strengthen the British pound. So yeah, it's that's my opinion. Again, I might be wrong, but certainly I will keep an eye on this one from my side. Going further in terms of economic data, yep, another central bank delivering interest rates, ECB, 2.15. As I said, they're not going to do anything, and yep, most likely they will not move, which is kind of understandable, to be honest. I mean, why should you? Yeah, it's for now it's the ECB. Do I expect a lot of movement from the euro? Unless there's something in the press conference, unless Lagarde will say something that will, I don't know, that they're actually thinking of stopping with the easing, where maybe if the tone changes to a more hawkish one, where they will be considering maybe rate hikes. blah blah blah. So yeah, this is the thing, and also keep your eyes on the inflation number, which is coming out from Eurozone today. That will be also that could be factored in into tomorrow's speech. So yeah, keep your eyes on this, and also, of course, in between the central banks, not in between the central banks, in between the central ECB's interest rate decision and the ECB's press conference, we'll get the US CPIs. There we go, boom. Now that's going to be an interesting one here. We're expecting, what are we expecting here? 3% inflation year on year. Let me just double check another source, just for more clarity here. Economic calendar. Okay, so Wednesday, U.S. inflation. Where is that U.S. inflation? Oh, okay. It's Let me just check this one. Come on, 17th metropolitan quarterly data. That's no. So tomorrow, Thursday. There we go. Thursday. So tomorrow, check out the. Yes. So the year-on-year November number, 3% expected. Previous we don't have. Okay. Yeah. So at the moment, I think that the problem is like whatever we're gonna get, enjoy. We don't really have previous data, so prior data. So yeah, it's just gonna be like whatever we throw at you, be happy. Okay, we'll see how it plays out. But look, in general, I would say this way: it's currently, expected to be around 3%. The core and the headline year-on-year numbers they're expected to be around 3%, which is fine. But if we start seeing a further shift above 3, I don't know. How can you justify the rate cuts? I really don't know. But maybe if you're thinking, okay, as long as it's not 5, then yeah, sure. It's like in comparison to what? So long story short, for now, like I said, to keep your eyes on this. CB leading index is coming out as well tomorrow. So yeah, and then Friday we're going to get the BoJ. The BoJ, though, what's going to be convenient is that the Japanese inflation numbers are going to come out just a few hours before the BoJ interest rate decision. These guys there are expected to go for a hike, which is a long thing or a long thing planned by the BoJ. Again, there are speculations that maybe it's not going to happen, because again, we know that Sanai Takaichi is not really a big fan of going for some hikes, but they already delayed that last time. So, because again, Sanai Takaichi came in and became the prime minister recently, I think October time. And, when we had the BoJ coming out in the previous meeting, it was just like after she became the prime minister, and she was all in favor of spending and blah blah blah. So she doesn't need a higher rate here. Again, maybe it was conveniently asked. Maybe the BoJ was conveniently asked not to go for that hike then. So now I don't know if they're gonna delay it or not. So yeah, in terms of data, these are the main ones. Tomorrow we're also going to get retail sales from the UK, and then a few, and from Canada as well, and then a few numbers here and there. Anyway, let's see what's happening with the indices, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so Nikkei. After a break of this upside line, I talked about it. I said, look, if we're also going to drop below the 20-day SMA, I'm going to lean a little bit more towards the downside. There we go. Boom, to the downside. Cleared the 20-day SMA within the Bollinger Bands here. We tested my 50-day EMA here, shown as the green line. Fantastic. So if we do clear that 50-day EMA, I'm going to go for further declines towards the 48,235. Very simple. For me to consider the upside, well, first of all, let's get rid of this upside line. Now at this point, I would actually consider the upside from around here, from around this 50,322. If we can get a nice clearance of that, wonderful. More buyers could join in. Shanghai Composite. Shanghai Composite is rebounding beautifully from the 3,816 zone here. Wonderful. That's fantastic. But but yeah, it's look, this is something that I talked about yesterday. I did a little piece for our VIP clients. I said, look, we're at a very interesting spot, so we need to drop below this 3,816 zone in order to go lower, because at the same time we could clear the 100-day EMA shown as the blue line. So basically two like nice support areas could be cleared, and that would confirm a forthcoming lower low and potentially attract more sellers into the game. So great stuff here, very interesting developments. So yep, let's see if we start clearing this area, the highlighted zone on the top, roughly between the 3,914.26, then yep, we could consider maybe a push back up. Dow Jones Industrial Average yesterday. Let's check what happened, how we have closed yesterday. So yeah, negative. Okay, so Dow was in the negative territory. Great result here. I talked about it. If you remember, I said to you that whenever we create a new all-time high, we break the previous all-time high, we create a new all-time high, but then we struggle to stay above that previous all-time high, then yep, there it kind of leads to some downside. And in a way, mission accomplished. I'm very happy here because it retraced all the way down here. I said that if we do drop below the 48,431, I'm going to lean a little bit more towards the downside. There we go. Boom. I don't know. Mission accomplished here, honestly. White Castle, hey, good morning. Hi, sir. Hi, sir. Back to you. BoJ likely to cut rate by 25 basis points. Look, no, they're planning to hike. They're planning to hike, not cut, but hike. And again, like I said, I don't know if you've joined, if you've heard what I've just, when I talked about the banks here, when I was covering the economic data. Yeah, they're planning to hike. And like I said, they are, because it kind of got delayed from last time, from November, because of, like I said, Sanai Takaichi, the new prime minister. Now they cannot really delay it too much, but again, we'll see how it comes out. But certainly, no, they're the only options. The only options that they have. Yeah, okay, yeah. So you meant hike, right? Okay, so for them, like I said, at the moment, cutting is not an option. The maximum that they could do is like not to do anything, basically. But they have to hike in a way, because they kind of need to support the Japanese yen, which is devaluing a lot against some of its major counterparts, and has devalued a lot. But this is the tricky bit, so maybe you don't need to do anything. Maybe the stock market will correct lower, and that's it. Then everybody just automatically jumps into the Japanese yen, creating demand, and congratulations, you didn't need to go for that cut. So if you mixed he confused me a little bit, for that hike I meant. So if they don't need to go, if they believe that so this is how I would probably think right now, is like, if they're not going to go for a hike, that means they know something, that they believe that maybe the stock market will reverse lower, and in like, I don't know, a month or something, maybe, or in the near term, and this way automatically the Japanese yen could get stronger. So maybe then you don't need to go for that hike. Again, we'll see. If they go for a hike, maybe then they believe that at the moment they don't know that when the stock market could reverse back down. Anyway, Dow Jones Industrial Average here, we're resting on a key area of support around this 48,000 zone. So if we do drop and stay below that 48,000, then I'm going to go for some lower levels. The S&P 500 yesterday, beautiful move to the downside, beautiful test of this broken downside line, rebounded, and the question is now, hey, look, this worked out. First of all, this worked out. I said to you that I'm going to lean towards this downside line. There we go. If we can get a breakout here, not a breakout, rebound here, then maybe we'll consider a move back up. So I'm still going to consider a move back up, if especially if we also clear this little hurdle here, the 6,827. If we do push back above it, then great, more buyers could join in. Very simple. And then we'll just take it from there. Nasdaq, it's an interesting one here, and hey, for now, I would say that I am still kind of leaning towards the downside, to be honest. But I have to be careful here, you know. Maybe, you know, the sentiment will improve and we'll see a nice push higher. But certainly, yes, at the moment, everything is looking a little bit more bearish than bullish. We're below the 20-day SMA here on my Bollinger Bands. We're also below this little hurdle that I talked about, which is the 25,222. This is the inside swing high of the 20th of November. So if we do remain below this hurdle, yep, I'm going to lean towards the downside. If we somehow climb back above it, then great, maybe more buyers could join in. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's jump into the German index DAX. Okay, I don't really have strong feelings about the DAX in general. I don't really think that something is interesting happening here. Look, for me, I'm going to be very simple. We're watching the ECB for sure. We're watching the ECB. We're going to see what's going to happen there. But look, if we do pop above the 24,384 zone here, I'm going to lean towards the upside. For the downside, I have a very conservative approach here. Also, a drop below this area somewhere. Actually, no. I just noticed something. No. You know what? No. This is what I'm going to keep an eye on. 24,000. I do like that one. Yeah, I think this is the better option here. Yep, if we do fall below the 24,000, ladies and gentlemen, I'm leaning towards the downside. The FTSE 100, this one's trying to climb, and well, at least it's trying to stay above this 9,744-45 zone. If we do stay above it, then great, more buyers could join in. DXY, dollar index, yep, pushing back up. Yesterday's data came in favor for the DXY. We saw, you know, nice move in some dollar pairs as well. I'll jump in a bit. And yeah, the DXY picked up pace and enjoyed the data. So after a good move lower here, almost reached the 61.8 here. I'll take it as a success. I talked about this in my morning video on Monday, and I said that if we do fall and stay below the 50, my next target is the 61.8, and then from here we could, you know, rebound and push back up. But look, this 50%, this 98.30 is something that I was watching here. And if given the fact that we stayed above it, my next target right now is the 98.80, and then we'll just take it from there. Let's jump into the Forex world, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, AUDUSD, yes, we can see the strengthening of the US dollar. However, to be honest, this is coming in perfectly. We needed the retracement back down here after such a good rally here. Look at this. We already did the 23.6. I think there is a chance of hitting actually the 38.2. Let's see if that's going to happen, but I do like this area a lot. It's around the 0.6585, and then we'll take it from there. But for now, I'm leaning towards the downside, a little bit more lower. AUDNZD, oh, this one is stuck, and I think it's time to do this. Remove everything and just focus on some key support and resistance levels. Very simple. Take a conservative approach here and just focus on that. So if you're looking for some higher levels, 1.1495, this is what I need here, a break off. If you are looking for some lower levels, then certainly a drop below this 1.1396 zone is needed. If I can get that, wonderful. More sellers here could join in, but for the upside, yes, I need this one. I need this move here, and then we will just take it from there. Nothing major, to be honest, nothing major. So, yeah, AUD, oh, by the way, how's my AUDCHF doing? Ooh, fell back into the range. Okay, interesting. So, yes, this is looking a little bit more bearish, to be honest. AUDJPY, so this is what I was talking about. So maybe we could see the yen strengthening automatically if the stock market continues to slide. If it does, then great. You know, the BoJ doesn't need to do anything. But to be honest, we don't know that. Okay. At the moment, looking at this technical picture, you'll see that we have reached a key area of support, rebounded from it, and in a way, there's a chance of a move back up. If we do fall below this 102.40 zone right here, I'm going to lean for a larger correction back down towards this upside support line, which is taken from the low of the 8th of April. It's a very tentative line, don't get me wrong, because again, it's, you know, maybe somebody might not draw it this way how I'm drawing it, but I have it this way, so I'm sticking it to it for now. Let's jump into EURUSD. So one of the pairs that you need to keep an eye on for sure. Look, we found good resistance here near the 1.1761.79. Good area of resistance, certainly. Now the question is, can we see a push above this highlighted zone? We're currently moving away from it, but don't forget, we're still above this upside line, taken from the low the 21st of November. We might see a rebound, a push higher, but I would prefer actually to get a clearance of this area right here, this 1.1761.79, and yeah, if we can get that, wonderful, great, more buyers could join in. For the downside, the 1.1682 is something that I'm watching right here. Euro CHF, let's take a quick look. Nothing major here. EUROJPY. Now this one's a little bit interesting. Yes, we're pushing back down and we're resting on this upside support line, taken from the low of the 5th of November. If that gets cleared, amazing, more sellers could join in. Okay, so GBP. So let's jump actually into GBP. Unless anybody who's watching this right now live has any question around any other instrument or any other pair or something, just throw it out there, throw it in the chat, and I'll go from there. Okay, so GBPUSD, there we go. Beautiful move to the downside here today. Weakness in the pound. Economic data here is, it's inflation is on the lower side, so kind of working in favor here for the bears. Look, we've reached the 100-day EMA. Am I getting very bearish right now? No, not yet, because I think for me at this point, what I need to see here is a drop below the 100-day EMA, and then we'll just take it from there. For now, yep, it's not the kind of, it's not my preference here, although I like it more to the downside, but I'm being very careful because again, this is an impulse and we could see some other action here, maybe, a push back up here. Like I said, we have the BoE tomorrow. If there's going to be somebody who's going to be, let's say, not in favor of the cut, let's say we're going to go from those five members, being in favor of the cut here projection, but going maybe back to 4 or maybe actually dropping to 3. Ooh, now that could be a strengthening moment here for the British pound. So beautiful roller coaster ride would be seen here on the GBP pairs. GBPJPY, actually, there we go. We're drifting lower. We fell back below this this 2024 area, this hurdle, this 208.11. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. This is the highest point of 2024, and we're still staying below it. So great. If we do remain below this area, look, we still have half a month to go through. So anything can change. Yes, at the moment, everything is nice and dandy, but everything can change, and we could see this one actually popping back above the 208 zone. So again, like I said, also keep your eyes on the BoE, the Bank of England, what they're gonna say, and then we'll take it from there. USDCAD. USDCAD, beautiful move yesterday. Let me just jump back into the daily chart. And we're seeing just like kind of a, also a nice push back up here. That's great. That's wonderful. This is something that I talked about. I'm leaning towards the upside on this one, to be honest. And I said to you before that I like this formation whenever we have a drop, a strong drop to the downside, and then a gradual, followed by a gradual decline, then we tend to have like a nice push higher. In general, I was hoping to see this test, here, this area, this 1.3722 zone, but okay, came close to that, and it rebounded. So now the question is, can we see a push, push further up here? I will get a little bit more excited with the upside if we do push above the 1.38 zone. Very simple. USDJPY, so this is one of those pairs in question. And look, I've mentioned this before, and I'll stick to my guns here, and we're forming something of a descending triangle pattern. According to all the TA rules, such patterns tend to break to the downside. However, if we are just examining this as just a simple triangle pattern, right? Not a descending triangle, but just the fact that it's just a triangle pattern, right? We're getting into a bit of a coiling up moment here. We look at the prevailing trend. The prevailing trend is to the upside, so according to all the TA rules, the greater chance for this one to break out is to the upside. However, again, we need to wait for the confirmation break. If we get the confirmation break, then I'll do something about it. While we remain inside the triangle, I'm not really touching it. I'm not really doing anything with it. USDCHF, this one, I'm loving this one actually. It's pushing back up nicely here, and yeah, look, I mean, this 0.7990 zone is the one to watch for now. If we do push and stay above it, then great, more buyers here could join in. Ladies and gentlemen, let's jump into gold, into the commodities sector. And honestly, gold is gold, right? Gold is fine. However, what's more interesting is silver, but I'll get to that in a bit. For now, gold is still, trying to approach that all-time high. Bear with me one moment. I need to drink some tea. Sorry about that. I need to keep my throat warm a little bit because, again, too much talking, too much shouting. No good. Look, for now, like I said, it's an interesting move here. We're still above this breakout area. I talked about it, this highlighted zone. And in a way, I'm cautiously bullish. I do like the idea of hitting maybe a new all-time high by the end of this year. It would be quite interesting, but certainly let's not rush into things. Okay, now the metal which is rushing into things, well, that is silver. Look at this. I reached my target, 66.10. I've reached that, we reached that, and we overshot by a little bit, but let's see now if this can hold. If it can hold, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to lean towards the downside a little bit. But again, if it's only going to hold nicely here, if it's not going to hold, we're going to break through it, we're going to stay above that hurdle, then I will go further north. But at the moment, in general, I think a lot of people are trying to short this one, and probably I'm not going to be alone in this. I mean, I'm also kind of considering a short somewhere here at some point, but again, we need some confirmation. We need to be very careful. There is still demand for silver, 66. There we go. We reached that. So now the question is, can we actually retrace a little bit more? Because this is just hyperbolic. This is just one-way action to the moon, and it's not. I don't know. This is just weird. We have been in history before with such hyperbolic moves here. We saw them before. So 1980, 2011, now this one this year. Okay, look. Fair enough. Congratulations to those who are holding it from the beginning of this year and from around like just below $30. There we go. 100% gain almost. Amazing. I mean, this is just spectacular. So what comes up must come down. We just don't know when. But we're trying to, find some sort of areas from where it could reverse. And that's why for now I'm just being very careful, very cautious, but I do like silver. It is quite an interesting, it's quite an interesting action here that we're seeing. Platinum. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this. We reached my other target. Let me just jump into a monthly. We reached my other target, platinum. There we go. Highest point of 2011. We're still not near the all-time high, which is around 2,300, but it seems like we're getting there. You know, we're near this highest point of 2011, so let's see if it's going to hold. And that's roughly around the 1,912. Let's see. But again, for now, it's a tricky one. Palladium, also great movement here. Are we clearing the highest point of this year already? Let me just double check. 162385, 16. Yep. Yep. We cleared. Yep, we cleared the current highest point of this year. But again, the question is now, can this hold here? Maybe, you know, this worked out. I have to say that, you know, break through this territory, this 1,486 worked out nicely. So hey, can I say, for now, let's be a little bit more on the cautious side. Let's see what's going to happen here next. But certainly, if it holds somehow, the previous highest point of this year, if it holds, then another decline could be possible. Copper. Copper is, okay, this one's stuck. And I think I need to just apply simple analysis here. If we clear the current highest point of this year, or in general the current all-time high, then yeah, we'll go higher. But and in terms of higher, where do we go? Well, I have this 1,150 zone, which is still my target, so we're not far from that. And hey, why not? It's just $50 away. This is nothing, you know, for this kind of instrument. Let's jump into sugar, one of my beloved ones here. Okay, this is struggling with that 15.25 zone, so if we can get a nice clearance of that area, wonderful. I'll go to the upside. For the downside, I would prefer to wait for another drop below the 14.74 territory right here, and then we'll take it from there. WTI oil, there we go. Mission accomplished. I am happy. I am very, very happy. This is what I was aiming for. I was aiming for that 55.15 zone. I got it. And it's now proving to me that everything was correct here. So yes, we dropped and now we're rebounding, which is fine. But look, if we do drop and stay below that 55.15 zone, yep, I'm going to lean towards further declines. Natural gas, oof, there we go, 100-day EMA. I talked about this as well. We've reached that, so I'm quite happy. And what can I say? It's a good, you know, good area of support. Everything worked out like a charm. Now the question is, can we see a rebound, you know, at some point here? Look, we have like slightly warmer weather everywhere, and you can feel that, you know, that's why natural gas is not as needed, you know, unless you're a data center and you're not, electricity is becoming a little bit way too much expensive, so you need to generate from somewhere, and you know, natural gas could be one of those options, to burn natural gas to create electricity. There we go. You know, everything for AI, ladies and gentlemen, let's jump into the crypto world. Bitcoin had a great, interesting movement yesterday. We retraced after that decline on Monday. We retraced, now we're pushing back down, so we're near key area of support. Look, this area of support is around the 86,450. So if we do clear this area and we stay below it, I'm going to lean further south. That's what I'm going to do. We're just bang on that hurdle, and yeah, if we do clear it, I'm going to lean further south. That's what I'm going to do. My next target is the 83,868, and then this 80,560 zone, and then we'll just take it from there. For me to consider the upside, I would prefer actually to see a push back above the, maybe somewhere around the 88,000 zone. If we do clear that 88,000, I'm gonna go to the upside. Bitcoin Cash. Now this one, I like this one, honestly. It's like, it seems like it's better value than Bitcoin, and it's actually a little bit stronger, not like dropping off the cliff as much as others. But yeah, it's an interesting one here. I would say for now, let's keep an eye on it. If we do, remain below this hurdle, below this 550 zone, then yeah, certainly there is a chance of a further decline here. Ripple, very interesting here as well. This one's kind of actually, this one actually reached my 1.9090 zone. We did drop briefly below it. But now we're back above it somehow, actually slightly below it as well again. So we're just oscillating around this hurdle. So look, in long story short, if we do drop and stay below that 1.9090 zone, I'm going to lean further south. Ethereum, still below the 3,000 zone. And actually, by the way, let me just adjust this, let me remove a few arrows and lines here. Yep. Okay, let me just grab this arrow. There we go. Let me grab this support level. Now I think we need to keep an eye on this 2,875 zone. If we do clear it, I'll go lower. My next target will be then the 2,621 zone right there. So yeah, this downside line no longer needed as well. This highlighted zone, I think we need to highlight this area. Are we looking at some higher levels? We do, but only from somewhere here, from around this 3046 level, because then maybe at the same time we could clear the 20-day SMA. So yep, there we go. For now, that's my game plan here. But yeah, it's while we remain in this little territory in between these levels, then yes, I will wait. I'm not going to do anything. Litecoin, one of my favorite ones. Litecoin, still fighting, still trying to hold on. And look, I said to you, if we do fall below the 74.82 zone right here, I'm going to lean towards the downside. For the upside, I need to see a push back above the hurdle here, back above the 79.89, and then we'll just take it from there. Dogecoin is, we're still below the area, the 0.1331. If we continue to trade below it, I'm going to lean further south. Polkadot, now we're trading below that psychological 2 level, which is kind of key number here, I would say, and we continue to trade below that 2. I will continue targeting the downside. And finally, Tron. This one's actually fighting back. Look at this. I mean, 0.270809, good area of support. Rebounded. Now we're pushing back above this highlighted zone of mine here. So hey, maybe this could be actually quite an interesting option. And then we will go from there. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a wrap, but I wanted to quickly inform you again that, look, this week, this is my kind of last week of webinars in a way, because tomorrow I'll have the Zoom webinar. On the 19th, on Friday, I'll have the MarketsTalk webinar. And then basically I am off until the 29th. 29th, I will do like a little wrap-up video, wrap-up markets, Markets Talk webinar on the 29th of December. So you can join in then, but certainly then I'll see you already in the new year. If you cannot make it neither on Friday or on the 29th, then I'll see you in the new year. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Like I said, I'll say my final kind of goodbyes on the 29th. I'm not going to say anything yet unless you're not going to attend. So in that case, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year if you are celebrating. Have a great time. But like I said, look, join me on Friday, join me on the 29th for the last sessions, and don't forget to join me tomorrow for the Zoom webinar right here, where we're going to be wrapping up everything what we learned in these sessions. So thank you very much. Have a great day. Don't forget, as always, stay safe, have your stop losses in place, risk only what you can afford to lose, don't overtrade, and everything will be fine. I shall see you on Friday. Bye for now.